Welcome one, welcome all. Welcome to the shit show. This is another improv story here on YouTube. So, this is the Sarzac the Necromancer. He is, give you a little backstory on who he is. He's a necromancer from Earth that accidentally did a spell that connected his life force to the universe itself. So no matter how far you kill him, no matter if you blow him up to the very last cell, he'll eventually grow back. Um, this happened with a few things that he explained throughout his story, his backflashes and whatnot. And I want to also make a disclaimer: this is also based roughly on a YouTuber, or not YouTube, I a Twitch streamer named Sarzac. He's he plays a variety of different types of video games, mainly retro. He plays RPGs mainly on Friday, Castlevanias, Resident Evil, so on and so forth. His link will be down in the bio. For real, check him out. You will not regret it whatsoever. And he's the first person to actually redeem a reward or redeem the story time redeem, where on Twitch, if you have enough points, you can actually redeem a story time, and I will do it directly out live on Twitch. So, anyway, welcome to the shit show. Let's begin. The last we see our hero, him and Dr. Zay, the Sarzac guild leader, was on their way, plus a few others, was on their way to the guild hall, the human land. Nothing really eventful actually happened at this on their trip there. There was some minor fights, nothing out of the ordinary. Once they got there with the demons in tow and explained to the other guild leaders exactly what was happening and stuff, the people there understood. They all kind of wanted a more robust way of making money outside of just the human countries, because they had a whole bunch of demi-humans and stuff there as it is anyway. I mean, the guild leader himself was a demi-human. He was a half dragon. Him and Sarzac actually started be pretty good friends by the time they got there. You got to remember though, Sarzac's also had a lot of long life, so there was a shit ton of stuff to go on about. And of course, he made fun of him most of the way there about being Sarzac the Vampire Lord, which pissed him right the fuck off. Because he was not a friend of vampires whatsoever in any world. Well, after they got to he ended up taking the demons and stuff and actually started putting them in prominent positions, having other adventurers teach them generally what a adventure a venture guild actually does. They um mercenary police work, monster clears, depending on their job. But one of the biggest rules to is that just got established in this past meeting is government work, meaning any work done from government itself cannot be any wartime efforts with another country, because if they quit the guild and then joined them as missionaries, that's one thing, but you cannot be in a guild and participate in country clashes, because the way that they're going to be setting everything up is the government itself, or the Venture Guild, is going to be like a form of a government without any land. And they were still planning on uniting all the countries and stuff this way, sort of a we're here to basically help the world, um, and help police true evil and to root it out. With Sarzac, a lot of people looked at him, the Necromancer. Necromancers don't exactly have the best reputation, you know what I mean? Which he always took kind of a little bit of offense to, because, Necromancer, no matter how you gain your abilities, unless you started sacrificing everybody up under the sun, you need to just shut up about it. Because until you know, you don't really know. Um, but they decided to actually move. Like, hey, we're gonna actually that we need to have a plan on how we're going to, what countries we're going to, how we're going to convince them, yada and yada. Because this is a big ordeal that they're coming out with. Not every country is going to want to be able to not use part of their own what they would consider their own forces or loyalty. So, and to actually bring them out as in a way to understand, be like, hey, we're actually here to help the world itself become something better. And yes, in time, help create a more lasting peace, but our main goal is to make money and fight monsters, kill bandits, and destroy any secret evil organizations trying to rule the world. Dr. Zay piped up, huh, what would happen if somebody actually, a necromancer, actually raised a bunch of dead against the will and actually tried to take over the world? Sarzac slaps his face. Disrespect, man. The disrespect. Started laughing about it, but even though he was secretly, but knew it was a joke. So he didn't really make a big deal about it. Well, as everything started actually going about, they all started talking about the different countries around the world. From the country with demi-human, demon country. Um, then there was a country that had primarily the more um, like vampires, more of the darker natured demons, stuff like that. Um, so there's the human country, the demon country, the the more religious country that was going to be the hardest sell out of all of them. Like, yeah, especially since a human necromancer and a human stepping up to a plate against um, an organization that really wants to wipe out anyone that doesn't believe in a religion. Not going to be fun. But they also agreed that a place like that would actually cause the most actual where evil could actually thrive the quickest there because of their religious beliefs, which a lot of people don't 100% understand what's going on through that country because, they pretty much keep quiet to themselves. So everything they know about them is speculation. They just know they're a very big religious group. And Sarzac um, doesn't exactly believe in gods. He basically believes in more powerful people than himself. That there's many people that have reached godhood type level of power. They're still just very powerful people. So, and but beyond everything else, the place he's not wanting to actually go to the most was the vampire country. Vampire, darker fae, a lot of really, because, you know, grew up playing Castlevania. And then once he became a necromancer himself, he didn't want to become an evil dictator or become death or anything. So he actually found different avenues of gaining power to be able to try to save people. But that's a tale for another time. And then the demi-human countries and the demon lord countries are fairly going to be up and down. But they weren't exactly wanting to go to the demon lord countries because they also didn't just want to follow Lunar across their country or the country anyway. And they wanted to actually give her time to work. One thing though that to note right after this meeting, we're going to have to send a couple of adventurers to help our princess Lunar how to deal with some of her abilities without, blowing a hole in the planet or eating the planet for that matter. Laughed Sarzac because her power levels were outrageous back when she was fighting in the wars when the humans here wanted to try to conquer the village hidden in the mist. But they soon found out how bloody she could actually be. That was before she gained any sort of magic whatsoever. Well, as the as everything went on, everything became a little bit more everything. But as the meeting went on, they decided that the biggest course of action would probably need to go to the Gimme Human first, which Doctors A still had a lot of friends in their government and everything too, so that helped them. Then um, the Dark Fae realm, where the vampires, zombies, or intelligent zombies, more like I said, more of your darker, more type Fae and stuff are there. then the religious country, and then the demon lord country last. And they also understand that they may end up having to travel back and forth until they can really set things up properly. They really needed to bring this out in a certain path, and they also knew that the Demon Lord country is already going to start setting their stuff up too, with them knowing what they were planning on doing anyway. So there was an argument back and forth, but then Sarzac kind of won out and be like, "Hey, what we'll do is once these idiots over here actually start learning how everything works, we'll send them back and let them actually establish the Adventurers Guild in the Dreamland, and we'll show up and kind of finalize everything. How about that?" And they're like, "You know what? I agree with that decision." Everybody like, but the other lands we're really gonna have to fencing because they also don't want to, you know, us to count as more like just spies or anything like that, which we're actually really known for. One of the reasons why the guild leader himself was going Sarzac, which isn't exactly known to be human, even though he is just an immortal human that got kind of bamboozled in becoming a unkillable force. He wasn't complaining too much. He was the one that started um, studying necromancy as soon as whenever he found the book when he was a um oh well when he was digging in the desert, bringing forth history. Well, God, this gonna bug me now. But anyway, so they decided that me and him are gonna go and personally start with demi-humans because they think that having the biggest rapport when it comes to the greatest asset. But it wouldn't exactly be wrong in any of this either. So they start getting ready to be packed up. They started giving orders, or Dr. Zay started giving orders the way he wanted everything run while he was gone, and to actually make sure that demon country and the human country both got all their got the information from the God, my brain is going blank. Um from the fake Sarzac, which he really was a vampire, which is going to make everything even worse. But it is what it is. They all got packed up and went ahead and slept for the night. In the morning, after they got everything ready, Dr. Zay actually went to the clerk at the Adventurers Guild. And she was, "What do you need, guild leader?" "I need to put two posts out that I need to know immediately when somebody takes it. A Either a dragonborn or a half dragon, or even a full dragon, ability to cloak themselves for a teaching position for a very special client. I also need a cultivator, um, and a magic tutor that excels in magic control be also put on that list. And as soon as the two, as soon as some candidates show up, you need to bring it to me immediately as soon as you possibly can. He was like, yes, sir, guild leader. Well, why do you need somebody that's able to teach when you're a half dragon yourself and know how to? Your magic control is better than most. Did I ask questions? Like, oh, I'm sorry, guild leader. It's like, nah, I'm just kidding. I have a client that really needs to learn how to control her abilities before it becomes a catastrophe. So I need people who know things about this to be able to, for one, make her more powerful and make her a background to save the planet, and if beyond, and for different ways to so she don't end up becoming her own worst enemy either. This ain't exactly work, as you know. Like, I understand. Good later. What would you want the reward to be? If million, you get the qualifications, meet my qualifications, get a million gold up front, and another 5 million gold if once you complete the task. She spit out of her mouth, "Excuse me?" Did I stutter? Why so? Because I need the best. Die, you lose it all. Meaning, die, you might actually have to pay it back if you died senselessly. I only want serious candidates, and trust me, the reward that you would get will be far better than if you did nothing. Like, I understand. All right, I'll post this right away. All right, if once you have a few candidates in mind, send it over through the paper. And once we get the guild set up over there, we'll have a communication hub that we can actually start working on being able to communicate back and forth, which is another reason why having everything set up will be the best course of action. Only Sarzac can actually do that part without flimsy papers. Sarzac came back up to the guild desk and was like, "Hey, we gotta go now. Need to go ahead and get going soon. I mean, time's a ticking. Got things to do, places to see, women to date." And he looks over there at the lady at on the counter and be like, "How you doing?" It's like a kind of like a joke, but not really a joke. Dr. Zay shook his head, grabbed him, and was like, "You're the one that said that we had to go," and just started dragging him off. While the girl was blushing deeply. Well, so we're finally making this journey to semi-human lands. The easier if you just took off and just flew us there. Like, yeah, and if we just did that without humping anyone on the way, how do you think our guild attempt to go global is going to actually work? Fine. Well, I'm gonna be actually summoned skeleton spies up and told them, want you to scout ahead and give a full report on what's going on throughout the demon before we actually make it to the capital ourselves. Because the plan is once we get there, we got to start helping their own citizens to show the actual benefit of some of the benefits of actually having a venture guild. So they finally left the capital, and it's like it's gonna be like a 2 day journey just to get to the lands itself, and getting in there might not be as easy as you think it is, especially with all the problems, with everything going on here. Sarzac turned around and looked at Doctor say, we'll figure it out. That's also one of the reasons why I sent my two skeleton spies to begin with, was to actually gather before everything goes wrong to begin with. How do you communicate with them? Telepathically. And he said it without, like, really? Yeah. I mean, I do actually say some of the orders out loud, but that's mainly for my benefit more than anything. I can command an entire army of undead. I just don't really want to. Another thing, I ain't the type of necromancer that's just gonna, without somebody giving me permission, um, to raise them from death, to just randomly start raising people too. But don't get me wrong, I've made a lot of powerful friends over the years that allowed me to do that, as I expect out of their own personal greed and what it is what it is. About 6 hours later, they made it to a small village. It was a quite little village, big enough to be a village, but nowhere near big enough to be an actual town. They walked inside the village and actually started talking to patrons and stuff at the bar to see if there was actually work, guild work that needed to be done. They found out that most things, since they're so close to the capital, are mainly taken care of by the capital. I think they understood. Once they started leaving the town, they, thinking that this place was generally safe, something caught Sarzak's eye. Looked around, and he ended up starting to whisper a spell. Sight beyond sight, sight unseen, unrelease, everything between. He looked around. It's the magical words for his benefit. He saw that there was something amiss in the town. Like, all the people there are there, but there's something not quite right. So look back at Dr. Zay and like, we need to stay in the outskirts of the woods to preserve this village for tomorrow because I think there's something actually fishy going on here. They're like, Dr. Zay is like, no, why do you think there's something fishy? I mean, this little village is fairly close. Exactly. So if you wanted to figure out how to do something in having a small village on there close to be able to bring out attacks or something, that'd be a good idea. I mean, what's it gonna do? Taking one day out of our journey just to sate my curiosity? It's like fine. Why couldn't we just stay at the end? Start grumbling. Thought I was actually gonna be able to get a bed. Nope, no such luck. Like, I don't even want to hear it. You summon a bed of skeletons, and I don't know how you do it, but that thing is. I mean, I offered to summon you that too, but you refused. Getting kind of a little bit freaked out that they're relying on actual skeletons. Like, and I should be freaked out about it. I mean, shoot, I don't want to lay on the dead. Sarzac laughed, and I was like, your loss. But they ended up bickering back and forth, but just taking cheap shots, being kind of friendly about everything. Then they made their camp in the woods. Well, Sarzac said he was going to take the night shift, and something was amiss throughout the night because Sarzac doesn't exactly have to sleep all the time either. Well, he was observing the town. Something didn't right around midnight. Something weird started happening. Wasn't a, but he couldn't put his finger on exactly what. Like, it's not quite magic or cultivation. The hell is this? And it's he couldn't quite understand what he was actually seeing at the time, not without a closer look. Well, he kicks Dr. Zay in the head and be like, "Hey, it's time to get up." Dr. Zay immediately ends up hitting him square in the face, knocking Sarzac to the ground. Sarzac being like, "What the hell?" Kick me in the fucking face. I just wanted to sleep, but it's so fucking urgent that you had to wake me up in the middle of the fucking night. Sorry, Sarzac went over there because there's something off, and if you don't investigate, if I investigate on my own, it's going to look like something kind of fierce. Or if you're with me, it brings a little bit more legitimacy to it. I don't think sending my skeleton down there is going to be the best actual way to introduce myself, especially since I think um, there is some holy magic actually on. Holy magic, yeah, white magic, holy magic. Um, Even smells a little bit of a divinity to it. Not exactly sure, but figured out, especially being this close to the capital, as you well put it. Fine. Ends up getting up, getting dressed, getting all armored up. Like, this armor that we got from that village, that me. Some of the best armor I've ever wore. Well, I end up making a stealthily down the edge to the village. I started scaling walls, actually being more observant when they found a entrance under the fountain in town that they never really noticed, hardly noticed it before they even came here. Like, even when they were looking at it, it was like there was something demanding we look away. Which made there's that kind of like, huh, I wonder if there's something going on here. I need to know about it. Well, they kind of snuck in and going from shadows of a house to house, with it being as dark as it was, made it fairly easy to get a little closer, and basically got to the village center where the fountain was. The fountain was still there, but it looked like a door was open that kept the fountain sealed, but without all the water rushing out. But there's a storage going on in there. Sarzac spoke over soft tones, Doctor saying, and it's like, I think there is something shady going on, but I don't know if it's actually bad shady or if there's something else going on entirely. Either way, we need to investigate, being this close to the capital. Um, they agreed with Sarzac's conclusions, but how are we going to get down there without being noticed? I'm not exactly. And could you use a skeleton to scout out down there? Like, no, I don't think that'll work. I think, if anything, that will piss off anything that's actually down there. Sarzac with a twisted look on her face, like, what? uh, because there's more divinity type magic and holy magic down there, white magic, layman's terms, down there than anything. So if something like a skeleton, which carries a general wave about itself because of how it's kept, would set off a lot more alarm bells than if walked over there, tried to find out if this was something good or bad. And at the end of the day, if they try to kill us, we have a reason to kick some ass and take some names. Don't you agree? Uh, they slapped his head, and it's like, I kind of do, but they're a better. As soon as he said that, Sarzac just threw him out from behind the thing. Like, you asshole. I know. And grumbling under his voice, they made a way over to where the two guards were, while where the town was. Well, both of the guards looked at it. It's like, you're the two travelers that came through yesterday. What is your business here? Bringing up their weapons as they're walking over. And that's when they said, we just were here under the umbrella of the Adventurers Guild. We're just wanting to make sure that shit's on the up and up instead of some whatever weirdness that's going on here. I mean, not places late at night is offering the abilities of holy type magic and divinity. Our eyes went wide. How did you go and ask your master or whoever had you out here, see if we can have a parlay to or attack us, either one, so we generally know what the fuck's actually going on here. Um, Start side and look back at both of them, and it's like knowing that both of these guys aren't really slouches, and he actually noticed who Dr. Zay was from the very beginning. Like, can't be here forever. Like, yes, sir. Walked out and like bolted inside. Neither one of them take one single step forward, wanting to respect whatever was down there, so that way they don't really come across on bad terms. And their main goal was, if there's somebody evil, they're more than likely going to try to hurt or kill us more than they would try to trick us. Especially since we're coming in dead at night following divinity. Well, the guard came back and was like, follow me this way. And the guard took him to the room on the, but it seemed like be on the other side of the town, but underground. Um, into the store, knocked it on it. It's like, excuse me, sir, there are two gentlemen here. Like, thank you, good sir. Go back and guard the gate. Yes, sir. And by the way, did you get any of your feelings about these two? Yes, sir, I did. Really think I would bring them down here if I thought for a second that they were a negative transaction against one of us. No, fellow right here does seem like he darker magic. Both his heart and his whole demeanor screams out, I'm not going to do anything unless evil shit starts popping up. But Sarzac looks back. How would you know that? We could be assassins. I would know. Sorry, I have to get back to the gate. Yes, sir. Like, gentlemen, come in, please. As both Sarzac and Dr. A end up walking in a small little brick room underground. Like, have a seat. They saw two stone chairs, and then they looked to the other side and saw it looked more like a eating room than anything to begin with first. So they sit down in two of the two chairs and like, sorry to have bothered you, but we are here to actually talk to you about everything going on and why a town close close to the capital is being shady, being kind of sus as all get out. So as I chimed in, talking kind of over Dr. Say, was kind of aggravated him. But acting sus, huh? No, I never really cared for your kind. Sarzac, the vampire. I am not a damn vampire. How many times do I have to explain this to you guys before you understand? I do not drink blood. I do not use that type of magic. People, please stop calling me Vampire Lord. Gee, so you are the real. I suspected. Looks over there, and a half dragon. Doctor's A, isn't it? Think you can really fight divinity? Sarzac chimed in and was like, it wouldn't be the first time. Especially when that's a story for another time anyways, but we're not here to fight unless we absolutely have to fight. That's all I'm trying to say. The guy that was sitting in a desk um gave a kind of a wry smile. The guard is right. I sense no actual intent from both of you. You're actually. Give me 1 second, good first. He went to the back of the room and just walked through the bookshelf. Both of them was like, ah, Sarzac and there's also another secret passage up there, one up there, and one behind us. And I think a couple fighters are actually behind. Dr. Say looked at Sarzac and was like, how the. Just because I specialize in necromancy doesn't mean I'm not a magical noob. My robes and everything I wear has a purpose to either effectuate what's actually going on around me. Meaning, if there's hostile preferences or if there's something else in place. Also, I have spells in place that dispels um, any illusions from my sight. Most of these spells are tailored, of course, to me, of course, because I can't die. If I cast them on you, face may rot off. Um, Zay coughed out. What? I mean, not to get any buffs from you. Jeez. Sarzac gave out a little chuckle. I have no idea. I have no idea. And when the other guy came back in, it was like, excuse me, you guys step to the door. The master of this mall wants to talk to you. Please behave. He is not exactly known for his patience. Oh, I understand. Both of them walked back to the room. Sarzac, or even Zay, could feel the divinity that was going on. And as a break for 1 second, divinity is way I'm using that word is a way of magic beyond a normal mortal ability. It's a special type of magic all on its own by the gods of this universe, or as Sarzac calls them, more powerful people learning how to use more higher forms of magic. Some divinity changes their aspect depending on what law, what understanding they did when they ascended from mortal to immortal and then from godhood, so to speak. I really hate that. term because, like I said, the understanding of what law ends up taking over part of their own personality, and their minds expand once they hit divinity, see multiple, basically be able to see the bigger picture within their scope of their divinity. Some of them from worse up, some of them from um, knowing elements so much to the team that they draw out the whole nature of divinity from them, so on and so forth. This place, Sarzac, is not on edge whatsoever. He just understands that there's something here, and if he believes if he doesn't check it out, it's going to actually start problems later on down the road. Okay, back to the story. Sarzac and Zay finally get into the room and see and look around, sees this curtain that's going across this room. Everything beyond the curtain looks really lavish. Lavish chairs, um, seats and stuff. And this is throughout the entire room. Seats made out of cloud constructs. Looks like the most comfortable thing he's ever saw. And that's saying something. Day looks around and is like, whoa. And he looks up at the curtain that was see through, but not really see through. And he could see outlines of like a bed, some chairs. And he looks around the room and is like, wow, this has to be one of the most beautiful rooms. Before he hears this lady in the background, will you two please have a seat? As like standing, and then right in front of the curtain, two seats popped up out of nowhere. Like Sarzac looked at Zay and it's like, let's just sit down. We'll have a little chat with the being of divinity over here. Couldn't you say goddess? Hey, I ain't gonna just anything. Divinity has a lot of strange effects on a lot of strange people. Most of the people with divinity doesn't exactly like to let it leak to mortals to begin with. Huh. Aren't you a Sarzac? Seem different. Like you're not, like your abilities exactly death. How is that possible? Lady, that's a long story for another time. Just Cliff Notes version, though. Didn't exactly like the idea of forcing people to do shit because, I want people forcing stuff on me. So I learned ways around necromancy, found way, and accidents happened that made I am today. Right. You are an interesting specimen. Mind if I took you apart? Like, yeah? You mind if I turned your mortal shell into necromantic skeleton? Like, excuse me, boy. Excuse me, boy. Lady, I am more than likely you are. And I understand you have divinity, but let's actually be civil. And I we both said some wrong stuff. So let's really find out what's going on without stupid shit happening, causing an international incident. I know you're from the Holy Nation down south. Am I wrong? Her lips stopped moving. Like, excuse me? Yes. If I'm understanding correctly, I think you are starting to spread your religion out of the world. It doesn't seem like you're wanting to conquer anything. I've been fooled before. They ends up speaking up. Excuse my young colleague over here. Older than you. That not the time. Uh, Sarzac just. But anyway, my name is Dr. Zay. I am a guild um, master, soon to be um, one of many guild masters across this planet. And once we found out that there was something fishy going on, we needed to actually investigate before, so you're not like the enemy or anything, or actually trying something bad against this country or my men in the adventurous guild. So you are curious if we're actually. You're not, Sarzac yelled out. Excuse me, how do you know? Like, because I know this after being around this divinity for so long. I think I have a strands of what you're trying to do already now. Excuse me? You're not here to take over anything, even being sus is crap. Being all sneaky, sneaky. No wonder I actually got a weird feeling when I came into town. But the major plan is for you to understand one simple concept. And what is that concept? And why are you changing the subject? It all makes sense in time. The concept of they're wanting to spread influence outside of your country without exactly spreading influence outside of your country, because and your divinity here is to help entice to start making churches across the land, more than likely to combat the influence of what we're trying to deal with ourselves. And goddess, it also seems like you're a fairly new goddess. It's fairly new goddess can range from like a year to about 1,000. But and with me being able to fluster you like that, I'm pretty sure you're on the low side of things, just starting to understand godhood. So that means you were either brought up through another god, given a little bit of his power to accumulate over time, or just a genius. Way, with all the crust and stuff I've seen around town with my spies. You say spies? Do you mean yes, skeletons? Um, not everything, but it seems. But it seems like you're trying to make a way to combat this new threat that's going upon our world without actually coming out and acting more, oh, evade, or trying to talk to people that you've closed yourself off from for hundreds to thousands of generations. Yes, I said generation. Huh. You're every bit as smart as I thought you were, Sarzac. Doctors say is not. I didn't think we gave our names, but we may have. Anyway, Dr. Say said, so what exactly, or wait, should I say, is my colleague right? Trying to reach out without officially reaching out? Fine. So this don't turn into an international incident. Yes, but young, I'm older than you, too. How are you older than I'm over 5,000 years old from the last time I counted how long old I was. What? I'm not even on the same planet I become a necromancer on. Your divinity should have told you that much. Kinda did, I just didn't. Anyway, not important. So you're here to basically make sure we're on the up and up, and if I am here basically to do two things: show people our divinity, our gods, our council of gods, actually, and our second course is exactly what Sarzac expected. We're here to fight the threat that's came to our world from the stars, from my understanding. You have a concept? Oh, no divinity. Of course you do. I'm not an idiot. Sarzac slaps his head. But anyway, so what exactly? How are you combating it? Well, this little village never used to be here. It's a place we decided on that has a lot of spiritual nexus cross, crossing its lines and throughout way lines and stuff. So we built this little place here to be able to help and preach the will of our gods, share the love of our God, to also gather information about the darkness that is trying to my goddess planet. Goddess, yes, I am a low rank god myself, but as you well know, maybe not you so much say, the I am on the low tier divinity. I am what they call a transition state, where I am still have my mortal faculty, but I'm also starting to learn use my divinity. And my job is to actually come out here, spread our word of our God, get leaders, not leaders, say, but get subjects to be able to bless nations outside of our own, be able to, know, become better. Better? Yes. One of our core tenets to how we believe, one should believe unto itself. One should never be forced to do anything across their own path. We encourage people to speak out against evil, but to actually question our attentions of what good and evil is, because good and evil is just a construct of the strong half the time, making people that are truly evil seeming like they're all great and almighty. There's people like you, Sarzac, that seems like you're a sniffling little vampire necromancer, but beyond that, you have a certain way of your magic that I've never seen before. That seem and but the feel of it feels a lot more rain and sunshine, like it's nature itself. Also makes me wonder if you're what type of necromancy you actually mystery to me, even me. Yes, you have an affinity for um nature, but that's a long story I do not want to get into right now. Understood. Yet we don't have time for it anyway. So, what is your purpose? Why is Sarzac and he even here to begin with? We were planning on going to semi-human setup and to start setting up a national-wide um, Adventures Guild, my lady. You know you don't smack. What is that for? Let me show respect to a low level god. You didn't have to say low level. She started pouting. Hey, very well endowed, beautiful low level god, she said cheekily. Made the goddess cheeks red for a little bit. Flattery will get you nowhere, but it's great. Appreciate it. And I don't like saying honest. She started giggling for a second, but got back to the question. So you're wanting to start an adventure and a adventures guild. All the correction there. We want to start up an adventure guild that's outside of any government body. Seems like me and you have similar intentions in mind too. How would you say that? Converting merchants, converting villagers and stuff, and then them spreading their religion low key throughout the entire country. Ain't just the general form of what we're doing, except we're here to bring purity and help fight monsters across the land. It's more about money. Yes, there is money that's going to be thrown around, but our overlying goal is the same. We are here to find the invaders of the planet, and we're here to be able to stop that from happening again. Why are you telling her this? Because she needs to know. Because I think this might be our in to talk with the holy um the Holy Kingdom as it is. Because even trying to find an entrance to there is maddening half the time. So true. But we also have our reasons. Yes, and we also have our reasons. And I think we may need to change up our strategy too, depending on how this meeting goes. How so? I request, O beautiful goddess, powers of the moon, her eyes beyond the curtains went wide, awfully. We beseech thee, parlay your leader to be able to create a alliance like this world has never seen. How so? I think that our adventure society and what you guys are trying to do are very much the same. I also think there's other reasons why you keep your borders closed instead of recruiting outside of your own borders. So, with all of our skills combined, might be able to help the divinity over your land be able to create a more lasting future. And honestly, I can't pass up a chance to actually do things the right way with your. What were you planning to? You don't want to know. Well, I do want to know. The only way I was going to be able to get into your country without starting a full on war, more than likely I have to do my way in, which I really didn't want to. Huh. And why would you tell me this instead of a lie? I asked. What's the point in lying with divinity? Tell if we're straight up lying or not. Yes, we're able to bend the truth, be able to see things different mark, but we're not just going to come out and straight up lie either. Are a very interesting team. Sarzac. So will you ask your divinity? Do you ask your leaders to grant us parlay, be able to see if we can't work something out? A Mitchell or a Mitchell. Ah, so we can work something out that's beneficial both of us and you. I will rest in rooms. Doctor say we and thought for a second. He smiled for a second. I will talk, my queen, and if this possibility don't go anywhere yet. Okay? Goes deeper into the room where a part of the room they hear a small room shut and then feel the power coming out. And they were there for about an hour before they were both getting a little bit tired at this. Goddess finally walked. Oh, love. Goddess finally walked out. My name is Sylph. My queen has agreed to terms. Will leave here in 2 days' time. My country. I will show you every hospitality here. Right? Is like hours in the morning. I like to get some. Oh, about that. Opened up the curtain to a woman, probably roughly 8 foot tall woman, spiky ears, pure white hair, wind sifting about, with a very skinny waist, thighs on the little bit of the thicker side, but not too thick, be out of proportion. Her body top was well endowed as well. Both Sarzac and Dr. A was like, beauty is even than what I realized. Smiles gently. Well, we have a lot of times on our hands to show you our first hospitality. And that is where I'm cutting it for right now, because I ain't getting into that type of stuff yet, other than over window and stuff like that. But safely to say, it's already been like an hour, 17 minutes at this point. So, um, this is our first installment of Sarzac, the Necromancer, and you should really check out the guy who inspired this character, Sarzac, on Twitch.com. Or basically, he streams a bunch of Castlevania games, Evil, a little bit of everything in between. I'm about to make him play some Star Ocean at some point again here in the near future. So, but you should really have him check him out. He's an awesome dude. Will not regret it if you like any sort of retro type gaming. So, peace out, everybody. Make sure to check out Sarzac. His link to his Twitch be in the information section here. Rock on. See you next time.